Hey, it's Darryl Syms, and today we're going to be talking about sixths and how you can use them to enhance the options and the feelings and the melodies that you can portray in your rhythmic and lead playing. If you don't know what a sixth is, I'm referring to an interval, which is the distance between two notes. So for example, note number 1 and note number 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and note number 5 and 10. You might be thinking, hang on a minute, there's only 5 numbers between 5 and 10, but you got to count number 5, so that'd be 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. In this video, I'm going to be demonstrating and inspiring you on how to use sixths in your own playing, but if you begin to get confused and you're not too sure what I'm talking about, then I recommend you check out my practical guitar theory course, which is linked in the description below, where you can find out all of this stuff in great detail, along with heaps more. Now this video is actually inspired by a song called Belief by John Mayer. Now the reason why I think this song in particular really resonates with what I'm talking about here is because pretty much the entire song is built from sixths. So all of these kind of slide things that I do are based around sixths. And you may notice there are essentially two shapes altogether. You've got this kind of shape where there's a fret in the middle, and then where there's not a fret in the middle. And this is the only variable that defines whether it's a major sixth or a minor sixth. So as with most intervals, you have either a major or minor version. And the question that may follow is, how do I know when to play a major or a minor sixth interval? And this can be easily answered if you have some prerequisite knowledge, particularly some scale knowledge or even some modal knowledge is going to help you greatly here. Because if we take a scale, like the major scale in C, and if you're confident playing that across the whole neck, you can take any interval and play a sixth from that interval. It doesn't necessarily have to be the root, but let's start from the root. So from the root here we would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this note and this note is your sixth. That's actually a major sixth. Let's now move on to the second interval of the C major scale. We're going to count a sixth from this note. So you would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's another major sixth there. Next up we have our third interval. Let's go a sixth from here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now with this one here, it would be ideal if we can sort of keep the fingering consistent. So we don't want shapes like this and shapes like this. Ideally, we want to keep consistency here. So I'm going to bring this note down to the next string, and together we would have. Now that there is actually our minor sixth, and the reason that I know that is because if I take this scale degree, which is our third of C major, and I build a major scale from this degree, okay, I'm gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I know this note would actually be our major sixth, but that's not the note that I just played. This was the note that I just played. So we need to flatten that 6, which therefore makes it a minor sixth. Okay, so altogether in the key of C we had major 6, minor 6. Now it's not entirely necessary that you know which is a major or a minor sixth. As long as you're very comfortable with the scale and you know the finger shapes, you can pretty much play sixths across the entire neck without even considering if they're major or minor. But it depends how far you want to go with this. Maybe you want to go really in depth, and if you do, then it's kind of important that you know where your minor and major sixths are. If you're just trying to play around with this and just have a bit of fun, then the only thing that you need to know is how to count 6 in the scale that you're in. So let's continue this method in C major. We're not going to be thinking too strategically here. I'm literally just going to count up 6 degrees from the note that I'm trying to play. So already we had major 6, minor 6, major 6, minor 6. And then when we change string sets, the shapes are going to be slightly different. Okay, so I'm kind of going down on the guitar, but of course you can go across as well. So the next degree in our C major scale, this is our 6 that I just played. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Our 7 is here, and we're going to play a 6 up from that. So again, in the key of C major, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So again, that's your minor 6 there. Next up, we have our octave, which, as we know familiar, is our major 6, and the shape for that is just straight below each other, 10 and 10. So in this small area of the neck, we should now be relatively comfortable finding sixths in the key of C. And of course you can go up and beyond that octave or even down the neck. I'm just keeping it sort of in close proximity here so that you can keep it relevant and close to the original chord that I'm playing, which is just the C major bar chord shape. Let's now make this practical and create an idea together based on two chords, kind of inspired by Belief earlier. We're going to take a similar principle with all the slides and stuff. I'm going to choose C major and A minor. There's two chords there. So we're going to start off with our root note, followed by 2 sixths. And then we're going to do exactly the same with the A minor. Played root note, and same principle here. Playing 2 sixths relevant to the scale of A minor, which is Aeolian, A Aeolian. Same notes as C major, it just depends how you look at it really, but if you know your A Aeolian or C major scale here, then you can choose notes from that scale that are a sixth apart. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There you go. Those shapes should still be very familiar to you. You've got your minor 6 and then your major 6. So that was obviously just a very basic idea for you to expand on in the key of C. Let's try it again, but add a little bit more groove perhaps and a few more options in a minor key now. So I'm going to play in a key of D minor or D Aeolian, and followed by the chord A sharp. So maybe a sort of Lydian feel there. So check it out. So again, you can expand on that. It's just some very basic ideas for you to play with and to develop a greater understanding of what sixths are and how to use them. But let's expand on this further. Hopefully you're beginning to get comfortable with this now. We're going to begin by talking about how you can use them in your lead playing. So if we take the key of C major again, since we did that earlier, if you remember, all of our intervals sounded like this. We're going to choose a little melody or a little riff that you think sounds cool. So I'm going to choose one now. And then we're going to superimpose the sixth pattern on top of that. So I'm going to choose a melody in C. Maybe something as simple as that. So we're going to turn that into a sixth pattern now. So I slid into this note, so we're going to play a sixth up from this note in the key of C major. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there we go, so major 6. And I slid from this note, so let me work that one out as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Conveniently they're both major 6, so I can just do that kind of thing. And then what did I do after I played this note? Which from experience, I know it's this one because I can visualize the Ionian, C Ionian scale behind that. I know that this note is a sixth apart. And again, the more you do this, the more you're going to get used to it and the more you'll be able to visualize where the notes are rather than having to work them out every time. So I went, and then the last note was this note here, the root note. And counting a sixth up from here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, is this one here. So altogether we would have. And that sounds a little bit unfinished to me, so I'm going to expand on that a little bit more based on the knowledge that I've already shared with you. So let me try and improvise something here. There we go, that sounds a bit more complete, sort of almost a descending scale there. You'll notice about halfway through I added that kind of quick slide thing. I did a video on this recently, kind of Mateus Asato style there. And by the way, if you want tabs for the examples that I'm sharing in this video, then check out my Patreon, which is linked in the description below. Now hopefully you're managing to follow along relatively well so far. The examples that I've shared with you are very basic ideas, but I encourage you to expand on these. But now I'm going to demonstrate some of the potential ideas that you can achieve with this knowledge by creating a short piece in the key of F minor. And let's see what it turns out like. So let me now try and explain to you how I went about creating that. So as I mentioned, we're in the key of F minor, so that's my first chord here. Just the sort of spread voice triad shape. We've got our root note, followed by our 5th and 3rd degree there. This is a 6th interval. Okay. And then the next chord. Some phrasing there, a slide. Notice I hammer in to that 6th there. Sounds quite nice. That would be a 5th. And I hammer onto that 6th. That's just a nice chord that I like. And then the second half, I change the structure, the root notes a little bit. Some hammer-ons. Pull-offs. And then a big slide at the end before the final chord, which is just a F minor, a different sort of voicing. And I add that 4 because it sounds cool. So there we go, that was just a very quick example of the potential that you can achieve with this. Maybe you can do better, but whatever you do, have fun with it, try it and use it, even if it's just subtly in your playing, whether it's just 1 or 2 sixths that you throw into your improvisation. And if you come up with something cool, then make sure you tag me on Instagram at Darryl Syms. I'll be sure to like it, check it out, comment, all that cool stuff. I hope you managed to follow along relatively well and at least took away 1 or 2 inspirational ideas from this video. If you found that you got a little bit lost, then I recommend, as I said earlier, check out my practical guitar theory course, which is linked in the description below. Or perhaps you want to support more content like this and download the tab for all of the examples that I played throughout this video, which is available on my Patreon page, which is also linked in the description below. I can't wait to see what you guys come up with. If you have any questions, comments, or input on this topic, then make sure you let us all know in the comments below. And until next time, I will see you in the next video.